proponents of the proposed global shipping levy envision billions in generated funds, crucial for assisting developing nations in mitigating the devastating impacts of climate change. However, this initiative faces significant opposition. Brazil, the host of the upcoming COP30 Climate Summit in November, has surprisingly joined China, Saudi Arabia, and 12 other countries in urging the International Maritime Organization, IMO, to reject the levy. Their January 31st submission argues that such a levy could stifle exports from developing economies, exacerbate food price inflation, and deepen existing inequalities. This opposition presents a stark contrast to the urgent needs of the most vulnerable nations, many of whom are staunch advocates for the levy. Their vulnerability to climate change makes their support for the levy entirely understandable. Brazil's position, therefore, is highly problematic, potentially undermining its credibility as a champion of the developing world at COP30, scheduled for Belém, at the mouth of the Amazon. Despite this seemingly contradictory stance, Brazil has actively engaged in intense diplomatic efforts throughout the past year, further solidifying its commitment with the recent appointment of veteran diplomat André Correia do Lago as the COP president-designate. Moreover, Brazil has also advocated for a global wealth tax targeting billionaires, proposing to allocate the funds toward development aid and climate adaptation projects in impoverished nations. The global political landscape further complicates matters. The potential for significant U.S. obstruction, underscored by Trump's past threats of sweeping tariffs, casts a long shadow over the negotiations. This uncertainty underscores the concerns of numerous countries regarding. Friederike Roeder, director of the Global Solidarity Levies Task Force Secretariat, highlights the necessity for stable and predictable development financing mechanisms, emphasizing that only levies and similar instruments can provide the required reliability. The task force, established by Barbados, France, and Kenya, now comprising 17 members, is actively exploring various levy options, including those on airline tickets, financial transactions, cryptocurrency. They aim to secure agreements on some of these proposals during the COP30 summit in Brazil. A January proposal from the International Chamber of Shipping, backed by the UK, Japan, the EU, and others, suggests a levy ranging from $18.75 to $150 per ton of CO2. Experts like Mags contend that even the upper limit might represent the bare minimum necessary to induce substantial changes in shipping practice. The ongoing IMO negotiations, currently in their fifth day in London, will conclude this Friday, followed by another round of talks in March before a final April decision. The protracted history of climate negotiations at the IMO is well documented. The initial expectation of a summer 2023 agreement ultimately failed, highlighting the challenges involved. Securing mandatory CO2 reductions from countries and their shipping industries has taken off. The stakes are undeniably high, with the potential for both significant progress and frustrating setbacks, depending on the outcome of these crucial negotiations. The opposition from major players like Brazil significantly complicates the pathway to a successful agreement, underscoring the complex interplay of economic interests and environmental concerns in the global arena. The ultimate success or failure of this levy will have far-reaching consequences, influencing not only the global response to climate change, but also the delicate balance of power and influence within the international community. The future of this crucial initiative remains uncertain, dependent on the evolving geopolitical landscape and the willingness of key stakeholders to prioritize global environmental sustainability over national economic interests. The coming months will be pivotal in determining the fate of this ambitious climate financing plan and its impact on the world's most vulnerable populations.